Hi guys, I'm Adam Wilborn from WhatCulture.
And I'm the inspirational Andy Murray from WhatCulture. And remember, the problem with opinions is that even goobers are allowed to have them.
The second letter of my name, it's D. And I've got some bad news for you about an injury.
At this time of year, I get pretty lardy. Here's an injury update on Jeff Hardy.
Ooh. As the song goes, it's bigger than hip hop. But I've got some bad news about a huge ratings drop.
Kevin Spacey, he was cancelled. And this SummerSlam match is also about to be cancelled.
Fair enough. If you want to have it out with me, I'll see you in the dojo. Well, I've got some huge news for you about Chris Jericho. This is the news.
Let's fire straight in after a wonderful round of rhymes there. We're going to talk a little bit about Roman Reigns and the attempted murder that took place on this week's SmackDown. Obviously, really weird scene with like Cloverfield cameras and lots of cuts where he got squashed by this scaffold.
And Kayla Braxton screaming.
Kayla Braxton screaming, then Roman kind of waving the paramedics off and walking away like nothing happened. Well, obviously, it's been a lot of speculation as to the identity of who may have done this, and there are a lot of names going about this. Daniel Bryan, Samoa Joe, even Shane McMahon. We speculated on Sheamus yesterday. There's all kinds of potential options, but someone on the internet seems to think they have the answer. And as this is somewhat of a conspiracy theory, I've brought myself the appropriate headwear. So let's have a look at this tweet from Rainbow Warrior 17 on Twitter. Not the only person to point this out, I should add, but the one who's kind of come to prominence with it. A picture shortly after the scene of Buddy Murphy walking away. This comes, 1 week after the SmackDown Town Hall meeting in which Buddy said we don't need Kevin Owens to get ourselves on TV and get ourselves known. Obviously, this would be one hell of a way to get one of the most undermined wrestlers in WWE on air and doing stuff.
Yeah, I'd like to see him in a big program. My only concern would be he's probably going to get beaten by Roman Reigns at SummerSlam.
He's going to get beaten up by a mini.
But exciting, great way to launch him properly on the main roster as this just huge bastard. And it all does seem to add up considering that.
Ruthless, terrible prick. Really good way to get involved. I think it'd be a really good match as well. Buddy's awesome. I talk about him all the time here. I love Roman Reigns as well. I think he was awesome in that Undertaker tag match at Extreme Rules. Yeah, sign me up.
It's one way of certainly making sure everyone boos the right person in this match. This one tried to kill someone.
Yeah.
So, yeah, well up for that. Sounds good to me.
Bang, bang.
Although, until it's been revealed, the conspiracy theories will continue. Some bad news to tell you about now concerning my man, Bobby Lashley, who is currently suffering from an undisclosed injury and is going to be out for the next 3 months, according to Fightful. Now, that has been going on since, I think, mid-July, basically. Last time we saw him, he was in a big battle royal, of course. Before that, he had that absolute banger feud with Braun Strowman, where they just ran through stuff. But yes, he's out with an undisclosed injury. He's apparently going to be coming back at the start of November. And yet again, I do this every time we have an injury storyline. This might be good, because they clearly didn't have anything for him post being destroyed by Braun Strowman.
Almost dying.
And I never wish an injury on any wrestler, but I always say if they haven't got anything for anyone, they normally just sort of keep them knocking about and have nothing matches, and everyone just sort of gets normalised to them. Whereas, if they disappear for a while, unfortunately due to an injury, and then have this dramatic return, I think it's almost like hitting the reset button every single time, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. I was thinking about this Bobby Lashley injury this morning, and the Braun feud was awesome. I thought, even the little things like even the arm wrestling and stuff, I thought was really well done. They went through the stage, that was incredible. They had that awesome, it wasn't bloody, but destructive brawl at Extreme Rules all over the arena, finishing with that mad power slam into a hole of boxes and stuff. It was really, really great. And I was starting to think that he was coming into his own with the promos and stuff as well, saying he was going to send Braun to the morgue at Extreme Rules and all this. But yeah, going away, having a refresh, it's never the worst thing in the world, particularly for a guy that WWE haven't always found the best way to present. I think the Braun feud was a great example of how to present him, and I actually liked his little squash against the Demon at WrestleMania. I thought that was really well done as well. But Bobby, poor guy, just hasn't really been able to find his lane. I think he's an awesome specimen. I think he can be a real action hero, video game type character if they put the time and effort in. So let's hope he mounts a nice swift recovery and he's able to come back in November, which is what Fightful are calling.
Would you bring Leo Rush back with him? I think they work so well together.
Yeah, like, I mean, if there's a bridge that can be mended there, I certainly would, because I thought that was a really fun little dynamic. And I'd also like to see a reversal of that on 205 Live, of Lio Rush as the wrestler and Bobby Lashley as the wrestler.
Imagine that as the enforcer.
Imagine all these...
He just flipped the goobers like 3 times with a clothesline.
Imagine these little pirouette and flippy-dippy doodads doing dives onto Bobo and then just throwing them across the arena, using them as darts. It'd be amazing.
Anyway, get well soon, Bobby.
Yeah, get well soon. Speaking of guys who are injured at the moment, well, I'm about to be one of them because my head is literally cooking in this foil hat. Jeff Hardy, I almost called him Seth Hardy there. He's been out. He hurt himself shortly after winning the SmackDown Tag Team titles with brother Matt after WrestleMania. He is now going to be sidelined until November. November 2nd is his specific return date. Same as Bobo Lashley, actually. This is according to the internal inactive list that Fightful got hold of. So it's good. It's good news to have some progress reports. An update on Jeff. It's been kind of quiet on him, aside from the unfortunate arrest a few weeks ago for being drunk in public, I believe it was. Yeah, good to hear. I would like to see him back on TV. I think he still has a lot of stock, either as a tag wrestler or a singles guy. He's still really popular. People like the guy. Get him back.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you're going to sort of take the title, maybe off Kofi Kingston and have it for a heel, and maybe try and eventually build someone to face whoever the heel is at, say, WrestleMania, hopefully with a babyface Daniel Bryan winning the Royal Rumble. I'm still holding out that hope. Jeff Hardy would be an ideal opponent for someone at like the Royal Rumble,
yeah.
I thought. I can't wait to see him back. He's so exciting, and he'd be the perfect foil for a heel champion to face, I think. And I love watching him in the ring. I never get tired of watching Jeff wrestle.
He's like 52. He's still amazing.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Get well soon, Jeff. Can't wait to see him back at the start of November. Right, some more depressing news to tell you about now, especially if you're a fan of SmackDown Live, with Showbuzz Daily reporting that SmackDown averaged 1.91 million viewers, which means that is a drop of 250,000 viewers in a week for SmackDown. Not only that, that's nearly 500,000 viewers down on this time last year. This for me is inexplicable, because I thought last week's SmackDown was fantastic and therefore hopefully would draw more viewers to the product. And then this week's was really good as well. Huge drop. The only caveat, you think you're the only one with hats, there was an American not presidential debate, but an American political debate going on at the time, which may have drawn viewers away from that. But even so, worrying times. We say this almost every week for WWE's viewership.
Yeah, another troubling sign. It shows that, you know, these past few weeks of shows have been really good on SmackDown, and it just hasn't really made a difference. It hasn't drawn people in. Obviously, the clash with, I think it was a Democratic thing. I don't know, I'm not too familiar with the US political system. That clash obviously hasn't helped it, but at the same time, it's not looking great heading into this big TV deal in October. And you have to start wondering what the hell Fox are thinking that they have purchased at this stage, because under 2 million, that's quite the drop.
Yes, not a good time. Especially, you know, week on week, you can arguably excuse it because you say, well, that's just one bad week. Or, you know, last week's just did really well, or however you want to spin it. But nearly 500,000 down on a year shows a trend, and that trend is down.
And you can't just hand wave this saying, oh, people watch on YouTube and people watch on DVR and all this stuff.
Fox won't care about that.
Fox don't give a damn about that. This is WWE's primary revenue stream. It doesn't matter how many children watch it on YouTube. This is important stuff. It never won't be important stuff until TV just doesn't exist as a concept. It's worrying. It needs to be looked into, and hopefully they can write it before it comes.
Yeah, I mean, it's good, doing good stuff on SmackDown, so hopefully the viewers will come back, but there needs to be consistent, decent programming for a good half a year before we can really say, well, it's clearly not the product that's the issue here.
Yeah, exactly. And part of SmackDown's recent upturn has been the wonderful SummerSlam build, which I think has been really strong so far. It has left us with a card that looks quality. I can't wait to watch it, to be honest. But there's one match on the card that probably isn't actually going to take place. That match was just made on this week's TV. It is The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. This news comes courtesy of Shagger Dave,
my man,
who reports that the match is a red herring. It's not going to go down. It might be on the card now, but something is going to happen on TV to get that thing wiped out. But there's currently no word on whether or not there'll be a replacement. Dave has also said that categorically there will be no Ziggler versus Michaels match on this pay-per-view, which may have been a substitute. There's also Goldberg, who Ziggler has been bringing up every single week on TV for the past recent while. Either way, this is, I mean, it's one situation where I certainly hope Dave is right, given that the other week, or last week even, he just reported that WWE won't have Ziggler on the card. And then this match gets booked, and the people who like dunking on Dave dunked on Dave. But it's very much a wait and see kind of thing, isn't it? Because they've only got one more week of TV to fulfill this red herring and pull it off. So, you know.
I'm sure those two would do a fine match, and the storyline going into it is intriguing with the whole Shawn Michaels super kick thing. But you have to feel that with all the other amazing matches on that card, and with more and more being added, the Roman Reigns match still to be added, you'd think it'd probably be, unless something really special's planned for it, it'd probably be promoted to the pre-show, at which point you're kind of like,
yeah, it's a match we've seen, like, you know, they're both good and they can both have a really good match, and I'd probably enjoy it on the night, but we've seen it so many times as well.
Right, final news story of the day, and we reported yesterday that Cody Rhodes versus Sammy Guevara is the first match announced for AEW on TV, of course, when they launch in October. Well, they have followed that up with a huge match that's been announced. It is going to be Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Chris Jericho and, quote, two mystery partners who Chris Jericho says you won't believe.
It's Adam and Eve, isn't it? Hey.
I cannot. I'm so excited for this.
Can't wait to see
Bit of
who
mystery,
this is. Yeah.
a great match regardless with the Bucks and Kenny and Chris Jericho in there. But two mystery partners. Who's it going to be?
It's tough.
It's going to be Enzo and Cass, isn't it?
Jesus. I mean,
take this out.
A lot of people will look at this and probably think about the Lucha Brothers, even though they're going to face the Young Bucks at All Out. You could also have Pac show up in this spot. I think Jericho teaming up with a bastard would be a good shout. Saw someone on Reddit talking about Marty Scurll, whose contract apparently expires at the beginning of October. I think October 1st. So that would tie in nicely, because this show is on, what, October 2nd?
October 2nd, yeah.
Is it? That would be beautiful, because he's obviously one of their mates, and it'd be a cool little twist. Everyone would know who he is. Everyone who has followed this promotion or the Elite for the best part of the last few years gonna know there's gonna be some recognition, or it could be someone completely out of the blue. It could be Chick Magnet Phil, who knows? And his little mate, I don't know, Colt Cabana. Oh, they're not little mates anymore, are they? No. Sorry, Colt. Sorry, friend of the channel.
But yeah, I'm just fascinated by all this. Let us know in the comment section who you think the two mystery partners for Jericho that you, quote, won't believe are going to be.
They should really sign Colt Cabana, though, shouldn't they?
Yes.
He's really good.
He's
just
great.
Give him a job.
Give him a job. He's
if
fantastic.
If he wants one, like, he might.
Is he injured
really
at the moment?
I'm not terribly sure.
He was injured last time I was stalking him on Twitter. So if he is, get well soon. If not, get him signed ASAP. Right, let's move on to your quick Twitter questions. You don't forget you can tweet them to us at WhatCultureWWE. First question comes from Mike Linsky. Now, he sent this yesterday, but I thought we had to include it because he says, hey guys, another news question, and it's my birthday, so it'd be lovely if you used it. Happy birthday for yesterday, Mike. He says, what do you realistically expect AEW's ratings to be, and what can they do to draw more mainstream attention outside of signing old WWE and WCW legends like TNA did?
To attract more to attract more of a viewership, to become more mainstream, just present a quality weekly product and it'll go from there. I think the first week will pop a big number and it'll kind of taper off and it'll reach a natural level and then it'll start chunking up again if the product is good quality. First week, I think it'll beat Raw on the first week. It's obviously not the same night, but I do think it'll draw a higher number.
Yeah.
Let's call something. Let's put a flag in the ground. I'm going to go 2.8 million viewers.
I'm going to say they're going to crack 3.
Wow.
First week, huge amounts of interest. And yeah, what you said about making sure it's good, just don't do any hot shot bollocks.
Yeah.
Because that's what TNA used to do. Just like, we've got loads of eyes on the product, let's completely change everything that we've been doing.
Yeah.
And then change from week to week to week, and there's no consistency. Look, you've got fantastic guys. They will make sure people stay if they get to just glance at someone like Kenny Omega or the Young Bucks or even Chris Jericho or whoever. Yeah, just have a long-term plan. It's not difficult. Well, it strikes me it is probably quite difficult, but WWE makes it way more difficult than it needs to be. Right, second question today comes from Gifted Pink, who says, instead of having 50+ writers do Raw and SmackDown each week, what do you think of each writer taking 1 or 2 superstars and solely handling their stories?
I think that could be interesting. You're obviously going to have problems there with regards to performers ending up in their own little worlds because they're just being written by one person, and if there's not necessarily a lot of collaboration between the writers, they might not find it as easy to interact with people who are written by other writers, which might be a problem. For me, the solution, however, has always been like chopping that thing by like a 10th. I don't think you need 50 odd people. I think you need a handful, if at most. Vince and a couple of his most trusted lieutenants. Get rid of all the sitcom writers and all the other people who've never worked in wrestling before and just let let the wrestling writers write about wrestling.
Yeah.
That's it for me.
I'm inclined to agree, but I also have the opinion you could have 5 writers, you could have 50 writers, you could have 500 writers. That head writer, as long as it's Vince McMahon, you could be creating absolute magic. He's still going to say, chugga-poopa scooper in there. That's some good Wow. Final question today comes from Eric Vasquez, big friend of the channel. Hi, Eric.
Love Eric.
Who says, what are the chances, because we talked about Buddy Murphy earlier, that Seth Rollins is the architect behind what happened to Reigns on SmackDown Live? Seth could be angry that Roman wasn't there to stop Brock's assault, leading to Seth having someone else help attempt to hurt Roman Reigns. So it could be the classic Rikishi doing it for Triple H, which was kind of just, retcon because no one really cared about Stone Cold versus Rikishi.
I did it for the Brock.
I did it, yes.
Interesting little theory. I think it'd be pretty cool. You'd be leaving a rather big babyface void at the top of the card on Raw there if you did that, but I mean, I'm ready for heel Seth Rollins again. We spoke about the problems that might cause, and particularly with turning him against Roman, who is a guy that a lot of people are still a little bit kind of on, in fairness. But I think it'd be a hot feud. They've got lots of history together. They've got great chemistry. Yeah, sure. I think it'd be pretty cool.
I always talk about long-term builds from SummerSlam to WrestleMania, and if this is the catalyst for that, I'm all for it. Right, let's move on to today's and finally, and some brilliant news about WWE or wrestling being involved in other promotions to tell you about. Colby Covington, how much do you know about him, Andy Murray?
Fair old bit.
Yes, he is fighting this weekend at UFC Newark, and Ariel Helwani, one of the biggest MMA reporters even, in the world, is reporting that from today's The MMA Reporters, he has gotten permission to use Kurt Angle's theme music as he walks the ring. Apparently, Bobby Lashley helped broker this deal. Now, if you don't know who Colby Covington is, he's a very, very talented MMA fighter who most people think is a knobhead. So, he invites that all the time.
He knows what he's doing.
He wants the hate. So him picking Kurt Angle's music isn't just because he's a real American. Isn't just because he's a real American hero, it's because he knows he's going to get the "You Suck" chants going along with it. And to be honest, I'm not a huge fan of his. I think he's a very, very talented fighter. I think some of the stuff that he does in terms of promotion is a bit but this is a masterstroke.
Yeah, this is really good. I mean, I think for the most part, Colby Covington is something of a dollar store Chael Sonnen, a really unsophisticated, unrefined version of what Chael was.
Really hope he doesn't hear us saying this about him.
Yeah, I hope he does. I'll batter him. But no, this will be cool. Like, I love little crossover things like this. I think it'll get a great pop. Like, the "You Suck" chants is really good stuff. You'll probably cut a promo about Donald Trump and eagles and stuff after it as well. Yeah, whatever. Hot dogs. What else is American? Voter fraud. I don't know.
Jesus. Let us know in the comment section what WWE themes you'd like to see other fighters use. And you can use fighters from any game, boxing, whatever you want. Let us know because there's some great connections to be made there. More WWE themes in everyday life, please. You were at my wedding. What did my wife and I walk into the room to? Stone Cold Steve Austin's theme. That's right. Right, let us know your thoughts on that. All of today's news stories in the comment section below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. You can send us Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE. Watch there on Twitter. Follow both of us. You can follow him at
Andy H. Murray. The H stands for Hoob. Remember the Hoobs?
I remember the Hoobs. You can follow me at Adam Wilborn. You can follow us all at WhatCulture WWE. And make sure you subscribe to WhatCulture Wrestling on either iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast from for daily wrestling podcasts. My thanks to Andy Murray. Thank you for watching. And we will see you soon.